What's up, guys? Thanks for checking out the channel. Tobin here with you. Appreciate everybody there tuning in. Just to let everybody know, if you're looking for some pre-game coverage coming on up for the Dolphins game, going to be on GameDay Uncensored starting at noon on Sunday. So we will be there getting you ready for Dolphins and Chargers, myself, Omar Kelly, and Alejandro Solana. And we're there for 4.5 hours. We will get you all ready for kickoff as the Dolphins get ready for their Week 1 matchup. That'll be on the QAM YouTube page. I usually link that in the description. You guys could go subscribe over there. You can also watch Tobin and Leroy. Had a lot of fun guests this week. Bernie Kosar, man, he was awesome. I don't know if you guys saw that, but Bernie Kosar was on with us, teammate with Leroy in Cleveland, and really interesting things to say. I actually had some interesting stuff on Tua, and I think we're going to Bernie on a bunch this season, so I'd like to dive into that stuff even more with him because it was a little swerve that we were going down that alley. But I'm fascinated to hear more from the former Canes, former Dolphins, former Browns, former Cowboys quarterback. The guy's just a delight. I really do enjoy hearing from him. But as far as the Dolphins, not a delight. We got the official word. I'm doing this at like 5 o'clock, so it probably came out an hour ago. The official injury report. Terron Armstead officially ruled out for this Week 1 matchup against the Los Angeles Chargers. I got to be honest with you. I didn't have a lot of hope that he was going to play at all this week. It wasn't even just the whole not practicing thing. And the last time that Terron was speaking about this, there was a couple things that stood out. One, he had said that he wasn't even really ready for the season. Mind you, this happened the week of the Houston Texans joint practice, right? And he was already talking about, hey, I'm ramping up for the regular season. I'm not even ready for the regular season. I'm ramping up for the regular season. He was just starting to get some reps. And then all of a sudden he comes out with, this video where the word was he couldn't put any weight on his leg, and he found it very necessary to put a video out of him putting weight on his leg, when then minutes later video would come out of him on crutches leaving the Texans facility. And then even the reports that came out were very oddly worded that were like, well, there's hope that he's going to be back for Week 1. There was never this definitive, Terron Armstead is going to be good to go for Week 1. It is in stone. It is happening. And when we got to the first day of practice this week and Terron Armstead was not practicing, I was like, he ain't practicing. And that's even with the do-si-do rambling of Mike McDaniel, where he's like trying to, we're protecting the player from himself. If Terron had the ability, he'd be out there playing. Yada. Whenever I hear that, that's become like the new buzz thing for Mike McDaniel. Because it's always like when they're protecting them from themselves, like he is the ultimate player's coach, right? But we've now had like a year plus of Mike McDaniel data on Terron Armstead. And when he was going down the alley of, we're protecting Terron from himself, I was like, he ain't playing. It's not going to happen. They were like, and even was even talking about this, how it was like, it's incredible what Terron did last year. I've never seen in football, which wasn't necessarily a good thing because the line was so decimated last year between, Austin Jackson being hurt, the other injuries that had occurred, his injuries, Liam Eichenberg, as much as I think he sucks, his injuries. And so the Dolphins were already on a thin line. And I think the thing that was interesting that McDaniel did bring up this week was that he had put out there that he thinks that the Dolphins have the most capable amount of starters. He used the word capable, not great, but used the word, I think capable was the way that he put it, starters. He made it seem like the drop-off from the starters to the backups was not going to be that great. And they're probably going to start Kendall Lamb at left tackle, who had a nice camp. I think that the line put itself in a position where I think people were feeling pretty good, as good as people have felt about a Dolphins line in a while. A lot of people have line issues, man. Look at last night. Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. You got Jawan Taylor out there with his twitchy leg, and Patrick Mahomes getting pressured on nearly half of his snaps. the hope for the Dolphins is that, one, that they've shored up this run game. The other hope is, and one of the delights that they have, is that Tua can get rid of the ball like a rocket, like pew, 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 right to guys, very decisive with the football, and is able to protect himself in that way. The other part of it is, though, sometimes Tua does, like, if the first read isn't there, that man likes to try and make a play happen. That's what Tua, the biggest lie ever told on Tua was that Tua was a check down artist. It was the biggest lie ever told, because the guy is not a safe quarterback. He's not. He likes to go out there. He likes to make big plays. He likes to extend plays. He likes to make things happen. And sometimes it honestly ends up with him getting hurt. If anything, I think if you were to go with Tua Tagovailoa, going into last year, people would have thought that he was lefty Chad Pennington, when in reality, he is he's probably one of the more reckless quarterbacks out there, as far as like throwing caution to the wind with his body and trying to make things happen. So this Terron Armstead thing is concerning, though. We can't sit here and act like this is not a concern. This was the knock on him coming in. The reason that he got the money that he did was because of his talent, but he was always missing games. I'll just go over Terron Armstead in his career. Let's just go from when he was a starter. I'll take out the rookie year. But 14, 13, 7, 10, 10, 15, 14, 8 before he came to the Dolphins, 13 last year. So the guy misses games. That's what he does. It's a lot of available games that your star left tackle was prone to miss. This was the knock on him coming in. He misses games. In fact, if you really think about it, if what he said last year was true, he could have missed all of last season if he would have gotten surgery week 1. So he gutted through a season. He still gave the Dolphins 13 games, which is nice, but it's not a full season, and it's not of elite reliability. And it was a huge issue last year. And the Dolphins made it, and according to Mike McDaniel, a big case to make sure that that drop-off isn't that bad this year. We'll see. But the idea that this should come as a surprise, this was Terron Armstead coming in. And I will say, for Chris Grier, every GM has their things that they favor, and every GM has things that they have a bias towards, and things that they don't really care about, and things that they don't really value or don't put up as a red flag. And we know this about Chris Grier when it comes to durability. He doesn't care. If a guy has durability issues, if he's really talented, he will pick talent over durability 10 times out of 10. Doesn't matter if it's a draft pick. Doesn't matter if it's a free agent. The guy will always go for talent. He's going to take the hope that when he is out there, if he is out there, the talent is going to overwhelm, and you'll take the few games that the guy misses. And hopefully maybe the injuries will be a matter of a fluke. Hell, Chris Grier, how many chances did this team give Devontae Parker? And that's not even his quote-unquote draft pick. But like, you would have thought, even with Devontae, we're sick of Devontae Parker, enough of Devontae Parker. And lo and behold, the 1 year where like they didn't cut him loose, they kept him around, Devontae Parker actually stayed kind of healthy. And then they actually ended up giving him a little more dough. Hurt all the time. But it's Chris Grier, whatever your thoughts of him are that is one thing. Bradley Chubb's had his handful of injury issues. Doesn't care. David Long Jr., one of the things that the Titans probably gets injured. Doesn't care. He goes out there. He's going to roll the dice on him. He's going to roll the dice on talent. Tua Tagovailoa, drafting as a quarterback. The big red flag and the big battle of all this. Justin Herbert, strapping, big, but not a winner like Tua was, and not the sensational star that Tua was, but had no medical red flags. Tua hurt. Now, I'm just saying this as a sign. I wanted them to draft Tua. I'm just using the examples for purposes of Terron Armstead here. Chris Grier does not care about durability. It's a very clear thing. And so the thing that I just have worried with Terron is like, yeah, we can sit here. We'd be like, that's week 1. And I would say from the long view of, hey, if there is a chance this guy, if you could play a month without him and then he's good to go, do that rather than let's roll the dice and then keep playing Mr. Potato Head with him, because like I saw the injury report that came out and it was like 3 body parts and they're probably hiding 4 others. Like he's banged up, dude, and he's not young. Terron Armstead, 32 years old, with having all those injuries on you. So for a tackle of his talent, which we know the dude is amazingly talented, but it's a concern. It's definitely a concern going into this. It's a little bit of a let's hope everything they put together works out for the Miami Dolphins, because this gets you a little hot under the collar where you're just like, whew, I don't know. So you have that, and then we'll see what happens with this matchup, man. I mean, look, you got Khalil Mack on that side, you got Joey Bosa, you got some playmakers over there with that Chargers defense. This is a fun matchup. Don't get me wrong, but the Dolphins going into this, 2 of their high-profile studs in Terron Armstead, Jalen Ramsey, both not available for Week 1. Yeah, it's a bit of a blow. It's a bit of a downer. And I wouldn't even see, it's funny, Jalen Ramsey, like that was the one guy I was like, Jalen Ramsey, usually reliable. Jalen Ramsey doesn't miss action. How many games does Jalen Ramsey go out there and miss? And lo and behold, he ended up being like the first day of anything. Jalen Ramsey's out there missing some games. So, it's a bummer to hear that with Terron Armstead. But the Dolphins will have to soldier on without him, and hopefully whatever this line ends up being together, whether that be with Kendall Lamb and Isaiah Wynn, that they can storm on and make some things happen in this Week 1 matchup against the Bolts.